Hey Hugh, what's happening? What's happening, cousin? All right, let's hit the probability question. All right, so let me make this video for you. Hopefully, this will be helpful. Um, Turn this up a bit. Okay. All right. Probability. If it's not clear, you could always pause it, and if anything, just give me a call. Let me know. Probability. Okay. Probability is the chance that something's going to happen. Okay, the chance of an event happening. Chance of event happening. Okay, so what that means is this. Let's just use this like line here, right? To say something happening. Let's say something's going to happen, and what's the chance of that particular thing happening? It's either going to be 0, meaning that it's never going to happen, or it's impossible. All right, impossible. Right. Or on the other spectrum, it's going to be 1. Right. And now the 1 is saying that it's going to definitely happen. It is certain. The event is going to happen. Let's say when they talk about the weather, weather, if you say like it's snowing in Jamaica, that's impossible, never going to happen, right? But let's say if you're talking about is the sun coming out, it's certain. That's a one hole or one, I guess, hole to say that. But instead of sometimes saying one hole, they use percentages. They will say like 100% chance of that happening, right? And if it's not happening or if it's impossible, that's 0% chance of that happening. Anywhere in between 0 and 1 or 0 and 100% is going to be like our fractions and our percentages. In other words, that's where we have something happening and it's going to be a fraction. So let's say if it's going to be in the middle, right? It has half the chance. It's an even chance of something happening. Let's say when you're flipping a coin, it could either come out heads or tails. You got a chance it's going to be one or the other. So it's an even chance at that one. If the fraction starts to get higher than a half, that means if it's getting closer to 100%, that means it's a better chance or it's likely that situation is going to happen. But if it's less than a half, that means it's unlikely. All right. That's the basis of what probability is about. So probability is the chance of something happening, and it goes from 0 to 1. And if it's halfway down, that means it's an even chance. But if it's higher than a half or higher than 50%, because a half is 50%, right? So if it's a higher than 50%, that means you have a likely chance of that happening, or a better chance of something happening than if it's unlikely. All right. Okay, that's the basis of it. A lot of times when you write your probability, it's written in a fraction form. So that would be, let's say it would be the fraction, probability is always going to be equal to, now the bottom number or the denominator is all the possible outcomes, all the different things that can happen, right? And the numerator is going to be just exactly what is it in particular you're talking about. So it's just the event. All right. So it will be in the fraction form that it's going to be set up as. All right. So let me give you an example so you can see what I'm talking about. This is like the typical bag of marbles, right? In other words, you got marbles inside of a bag. You can't see what's inside there, but there's marbles in there. I'm going to make these, there's like solid marbles. You got your striped marbles, right? And you got the polka dot marbles. Okay? That's your polka dot marbles. You got your striped, your polka dots, and your solid marbles. Okay? All right. So now, if I'm talking about probability, let's say what's the probability? Because they normally say you're gonna pick inside there. You're putting your hand and picking inside there, and you're picking randomly. Randomly means you're not, like looking inside and knowing which one you're picking. You're just picking one and seeing whatever comes out. So that's a random pick. So when you randomly do that, you pick it inside. What's the chance of you getting? Now let's say what's the chance of you getting solid? Well, first, what you want to do is you want to count up how many you have, because the possibility of all the different things that can happen is you could pick this striped one, you could pick this solid, you could pick this polka dot, you could pick that polka dot, you could pick that solid. You have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me make sure, because I think I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 marbles inside here total. So your denominator is all the different possibilities, which is going to be 10. Okay. Now the probability of me getting the solid, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 solid. I got a 4 out of 10 chance of picking. All right. So that means if I was to pick 10 times, and if I pick 4 of them, it's probably going to be that it's going to come out solid. Is it definitely true? Hard to say, but that's just the mathematics you do. Then you can reduce this. Right? So again, this is the probability of you getting solid. Right? A solid one. The solid that you would get, the probability is 4 out of 10. You can reduce that and get 2 fifths. Remember, you divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Divide them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Right? And then from there, you could turn that into a decimal, and the decimal value for that is going to be 40%. All right. You could do the division, 2 divided by 5, or you could say that 5 goes into 120 times, so 2 goes into 20. 2 times 20 is 40. That's you get 40 over 100, or 40%. All right. So that's that. Now let's just say I wanted to find out how many. What's my probability of me picking the polka dot? The polka dot then is going to be polka dots. So that's going to be, there's how many? 1, 2, 3 polka dots out of a total of 10 that's in there. So it's going to be 3 out of 10. So the probability of me picking that is going to be 3 out of 10. All right. Now that's the same as saying 30%. Now, remember, going back to the other chart, since these two numbers are lower than 40%, lower than 50%, it's unlikely that I'm going to pick these colors, only because of the fact that there's